Oh, it's
Hello.
funny you saying about terrible leadership. My grandfather, he sadly died of coronavirus on Easter Sunday, and it's amazing that a lot of the country, he's still trying to hoodwink people with this Churchillian attitude of Britain together and this wishy-washy.
Easy though. I mean, because Churchill didn't hide. Could you imagine Churchill being behind the sofa? Instead of doing addresses to the nation. I don't like the wartime analogies, but if we're going to go with them, where is he?
Well, this is the thing. I mean, in my opinion, people like my grandfather would sacrifice for 1 or 2 more days of the economy. I did it last Wednesday. I'm about to do it in about 5 minutes. I'm actually sat outside of Parliament now. I've come down here with a sign with his name, Berys Moore, on to show Boris as he goes in and out.
I'm sorry, mate.
Oh, well, that's the funny thing is, people say it is what it is, but it's not, because, many other countries shut down far quicker. If we look at New Zealand and the attitude that she took on looking after, the people of New Zealand, it was, so much quicker and with much more care and sympathy. But with Boris and, the likes of Mogg and Patel, they don't care if people like my grandfather dies or if your grandfather dies.
Well, I can't argue with you because your granddad did die, and I'm not sure. I'm not sure I would want to. Jacinda Ardern, of course, the New Zealand Premier to whom you refer. Tell me your granddad's name again, Ellis. What have you got written on your?
So on the sign his name was Berys Moore.
Berys.
Yes, he was, and this is what I think is so bizarre in terms of how the government, weren't able to keep, and their lack of care of when it was getting through London, their lack of ability to lock it down. My grandfather grew up in Worcestershire, in a place called Evesham, and the fact that it is ravaging care homes and care hospitals there is unbelievable to me.
Why? Just because it's an abnegation of duty? You can't believe that it's been allowed to run like this unchecked and take so many people like your granddad with it?
Yeah, well, it's the case of we've only just started quarantining people who are coming in from highly infected areas.
We haven't really started doing that either, actually.
No, exactly.
When you look at it, it's. I mean, they were talking about. It's making people go into a 2-week quarantine when they were coming from countries that had dealt with it a lot better than we have. I mean, it was almost as if they had this gap, to what you might call a touch of the Chris Graylings, mate, where there's just a gap in the news and they have to fill it, and they'll fill it with anything, whether it's a made-up shipping company or whether it is, as you suggest, they just say anything. They talk about, we could do a 2-week quarantine, and then they won't, and then they'll do a deal with France, and we'll have air bridges, and I haven't lost anyone, but mate, I really feel for you. Do you want, we do an occasional feature on the programme where we give grieving family members a few minutes to tell us a little bit about who they've lost. If you'd like to do that for your granddad, tell us a little bit about his life later this week, or I'm off next week. But I'd love to offer you that opportunity, but no pressure, and only if you fancy it.
Well, I'd absolutely love to do that. I mean, I never thought.
Let's do it tomorrow. Let's do it tomorrow.
Thank you. I'd appreciate that. I never thought that I would ever do anything like stand outside of Parliament with his name on a bit of card. That if you'd have said to me that at Christmas with a glass of Prosecco in my hand, I'd have laughed you out the room. I would never have believed anything like that.
Because you thought that's what Fruit Loops do, or not Fruit Loops. That's not fair. People who are passionate but perhaps a tad eccentric. But here we are.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the thing is, to Boris and people in the top of this cabinet, numbers are numbers. They don't see a number attached to a name because they're more concerned about the numbers of the economy than they are the numbers of dying people around this country, and it's insanity to the next level.
It is sometimes necessary for me to hear people like you say that, because I put an awful lot of effort into keeping the ultimate bleakness at bay, but not today, not with you standing there outside Parliament with your granddad's name on a placard. It's just not right. It's just not right. And tomorrow we'll find out a little bit more about your granddad.